it's Jessie here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. For today's video, I am sitting down to write my June budget. I have already closed out my May budget. I'm excited to say that we came in under budget overall. If you missed the video where I did my budget closeout for May, make sure you go and check it out. I will link it down below. I have also taken a look back at my April budget and my May budget and did a little spending comparison so that I could arm myself with the knowledge of how much we've been spending in our variable spending categories. And I talked a little bit about what I needed to prepare for moving forward into June. So if you missed that video, check it out. I've done all the prep work and now I am finally ready to sit down and fill in the monthly section of my 2-page hybrid budget here. This is my hybrid budget worksheets for June in this really beautiful funky floral pattern. If you're interested in getting these worksheets for yourself, I filmed a whole video kind of doing a little tour of what all of the budget worksheets look like for June, telling you how you can get them. So I will link that down below as well. Lots of links to be added to my description box. Make sure you check them out. You can get my worksheets a couple of different ways. You can buy them on Etsy or you can join my channel membership. All of those links will be below as well. All right, enough of that. Let me go ahead, zoom you in, and let's get started talking about June. So what do we have going down the pipeline for June? We have the end of my son's school year. He's officially starting summer vacation on June 11th. We have soccer tryouts for actually next fall's recreation team. So that's gonna happen. It's crazy to me that they do the tryouts for that so far in advance, but that's happening in June. We also have Austin's summer soccer league starting in June, so we will have weeknight games for that. Conditioning for varsity soccer, which starts up in the fall, starts this month. So there's a lot of activities going on surrounding the soccer programs that my son is a part of. He is very heavy into soccer. He absolutely loves it. We also have some camping trips and some other big things going on. So a lot going on in June, a lot that's going to play a part of our budget here. But something that pretty much always stays the same is our monthly bills. So we're going to get started by jotting those down first. Skipping over the income section, if you've seen any of my budget videos here on YouTube before, you will know that I do not share my income. That's just a personal choice. My husband and I keep our income private, but we will talk at the end about how much total we are budgeting for the month of June, and this is how it's going to be allocated. So starting with lot rent, we own our home. We do not own the lot that it sits on. We live in a mobile home community. Every month I budget $800. This amount includes the lot rent as well as our cable bill, which we pay directly through our mobile home community. They got us like a group discount. Everyone in the mobile home community got a discounted rate on their cable by signing up through this little service. So that is included in there, as well as our monthly water bill. So $800 for those things. We have a storage unit because we live in a single wide mobile home that's pretty teeny tiny and we like stuff. So we store all the stuff we're not currently using in storage, and we pay about $100 a month for that, or at least that's what I budget. I always tend to round my budgeted amounts up because that helps us have a little bit of a built-in buffer. For example, last month in May, I'm looking at my May hybrid budget worksheet. We budgeted $800, but we only spent $712.57. So that gave us, you know, like a, what is that, $80 or $78 buffer automatically right there. All right, next up we have DTE, which is our electric bill. We are on their budget billing program, which means that we pay the same amount every month regardless of usage. They just kind of take an average of your previous year's usage. And then at the end of the year, if you paid less than what you actually used, you make an additional payment. If you paid less than you actually used, you make an additional payment. If you paid more than you actually used, you get a little bit of a refund. So for our DTE, we budget $220 a month. Michigan Gas is exactly the same way, only instead of our electric bill, this is our gas bill. They take an average. That average actually just recently was recalculated and our payment went down, which is fantastic. So we are now budgeting $45 for Michigan Gas. And I'm very crooked. My apologies if that's been driving you crazy. All right, next up we have car insurance. And the amount that we budget for car insurance, I'm gonna budget $510. We have a golf cart that we are currently making payments on. And our monthly payment for that, we budget $150. And you know, I call it a golf cart, but it's actually like a UTV. I call it a golf cart, I guess, because when we originally were shopping, we were looking at golf carts to use for transportation in our little campground that we are members of. And ultimately we ended up going with a UTV instead, but for whatever reason, I've always called it a golf cart, even though it's technically not. Speaking of our campground, we have a camper and we do have a payment for that, which we budget $200 a month. By the way, I'm not listing absolutely everything here. There are some parts of my budget that I choose to keep private. For example, you don't see any car payments on this budget, but we do have car payments. I just choose to keep those private. So as I'm going through my monthly budget, you're noticing that certain bills or expenses are left off and you're wondering, hey, why didn't she list XYZ in her budget? It's because those are the categories I decided to keep private just because, you know, I don't need to tell the entire internet every single dime that I'm spending each month. It's just for privacy, and I hope you guys understand that. I think you do. Next up, we have my Sleep Number credit card. We are down to one credit card that carries a balance. We talked last month in May about how we had to use our Lowe's card to buy a new washing machine, so that took us back up to 2 credit cards with balances. I'm happy to say we paid Lowe's off, so that's no longer on here. We're back down to just 1 credit card, our Sleep Number credit card. And all I'm listing here is the minimum payment. I'm not gonna write down any extra debt payments we plan to make. I share debt updates with my channel members in a specific monthly debt update where I talk more about the additional payments we were able to make. But for here, just on my main channel, I just write in the budgeted amount for our minimum payment to our Sleep Number bed, which is $300. So that explains that. If you're interested in seeing more about our overall credit card debt, our journey, how we're paying it off, you can join my channel membership. The buddy tier is the least expensive membership tier option that gives you access to the members only videos. So if you're just interested in the extra videos, join at the buddy tier and you can check those out. All right, next up, we're moving into our variable categories. So we have auto pay, which is a line item in my budget that I use to keep track of all of our memberships, our subscriptions, and any other little bills that come out of our account automatically that I don't have to go in and pay separately. The amount that I budget every month is $300 for that. We next have grocery, which typically includes anything that we buy at Walmart. So all of our monthly groceries, but also toiletries, cleaning products, pet food, that sort of thing. it's all on this one line item for grocery. And I'm going to budget $1,200 for this. And I'm kind of nervous that it's not going to be enough because we haven't been spending quite $1,200. The last couple of months we've spent less than that, but my son is going to be home from school. He got free lunch all year. Our state offered a program where every single public school student got free lunch. So he was eating lunch at school, and now he'll be eating lunch at home. So because of that, I thought about raising this budget, but I'm going to stick to $1,200. This might bite me in the butt. I will have a buffer in my account just in case we end up spending more than this. But also, I'm going to have a separate line item here for Sam's Club. We are planning on going to Sam's Club to stock up on some snacks and things. So that will hopefully help keep my teenage son, who eats like 2 grown men, fed. And the amount that I'm going to budget for Sam's Club is $300. We want to get some produce, we want to get some snacks, some protein shakes. So a total of $1,500 for groceries if we go a little bit higher at Sam's and a little bit lower at the regular grocery store, that's fine. So really it's like $1,500 total for groceries, but I just decided to break it up this way just cause personal finance is personal. Personal finance is personal. Do what works best for you. Okay, so that's that. Next up is eating out. Last month we went over budget on eating out. And with that in mind, I am going to raise this a little bit to $400. That gives us about $100 a week. Hopefully we'll spend less than that, but I don't want to budget less and then just go over budget because that seems silly. So we're going to budget a little bit more for eating out. For spending, we're going to keep it the same as we have been doing the last couple of months, and we're going to do $500. Next up is sinking funds. We went through and spent pretty much everything from our sinking funds last month. But even so, I'm not going to put as much money to sinking funds this month, just because we don't have as much money to work with this month. So I'm going to do $400 to sinking funds. Because we did just spend a lot from our sinking funds, I don't anticipate that we're going to need a ton of things. Hopefully that will be the case. Hopefully next month I can put more towards sinking funds, but this is what I'm doing for now. Next, I have savings challenges. I've been using our savings challenges to help pay off our debt. And the amount that I'm going to put towards savings challenges this month, whether or not that all ends up paid into our savings challenges and therefore to debt, will just depend on the fun games that I play when I sit down every week to do that. You may or may not have seen those videos. I do a lot of fun games and drawing cards and rolling dice and that sort of thing to figure out how much money I'm going to put towards those savings challenges. Ultimately, that money does go to debt. Why, you might ask, do I not just take this amount of money and just pay it to debt? Because it's not as much fun. That's why. So I'm going to put $300 towards the savings challenges this month. I think that's what I've decided I'm going to budget. Maybe it'll end up being more, but that's the plan as of right now. And last but not least, then, we have a buffer. I always like to keep a buffer in my account. That way, if we overspend in one of these categories, we have a little bit of extra money to work with. So I'm going to do a $200 buffer here. So those are all of the categories that I plan to fund this month with our budget. Now let's go ahead and get a quick total. So 800 plus 100 plus 220 plus 25 plus 510 plus 150 plus 200 plus 300 plus 1200 plus 300 plus 400 plus 500 plus 400 plus 300 plus 200 for a grand total of $5,625 budgeted for the month of June. Hopefully we will come in under budget again this month. The last 2 months in a row we have come in under budget, so fingers crossed that will be the case again in June. But I think I've set myself up pretty well for everything we've got coming down the pipeline in June. Hopefully it'll work out really well. Make sure that you subscribe if you haven't done so already, so you can come back and check in with me every week when I do my weekly check-ins. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!